Welcome to the Good Pod, where today we're talking Elsbeth, Season 3, Episode 16, Murder, He Wrote. I am one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, the woman that knows that the pen is mightier than the sword. Or in this case, the bookcase, Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
I'm good, Jason. Those nibs, they'll get you anytime.
The nibs are sharp. Yeah, they can get you.
Are you good? How are you? Are you good?
I'm good. So yeah, here we are. Episode 16. A lot happened this episode. There were a lot of unexpected callbacks, unexpected cameos in this episode. So we're going to get into all that. But before we do, we want to remind you of some free and easy ways you can help this podcast. You can do that by reviewing, rating, subscribing. Anywhere you're watching and or listening, this really helps us get into the eyes and ears of more people out there. We'd also love if you would comment on YouTube, comment on Spotify. That really helps us get interactive with all the people listening to this. If you have thoughts, you have questions, you have comments, we love to hear them. We love to talk about them. We love to bounce off of them, off of your thoughts and opinions. So do all that stuff. It really helps us. You can also, if you want to talk to us, if you're just listening on audio through like Apple, you don't have a great way to talk to us through comments, you can just go to the goodpodfeedback@gmail.com and hit us up there. If you hit us up there, we will get back to you. If it's something we can, shout you on the podcast, we'll do that. Also, hey, I said free and easy, but if you want to help us in some like not free, but still easy ways, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/goodpod and donate any sum you wish to really help us out with the running of this podcast. So yeah, those are all the housekeeping out there. Marissa, give me your overview, your big world view of how you felt about this episode.
Well, first of all, it was like packed with people. Loved it. Loved seeing all of the guest stars that we're going to talk about. Also, I don't know about you, Jason, but I really did watch a lot of Murder, She Wrote as a child. And this is something I have talked to my therapist about. But I don't know if you remember on that show, when someone was dead, there was always a chalk outline.
Oh, so is that the origin of the chalk outline on TV shows?
So I would always like pretend I'd be like, this is it. Like, strike a pose.
You'd be outside with your sister, Lisa. You see, go to the sidewalk. Give me a chalk outline. Just lay down
something like that. But yeah, I mean, like, I want to say, but like that show was about an author who wrote books that solved murders. In this case, they flipped it a bit, so it was a fun little, a little nod to an era gone by in my life.
I mean, listen, an era that Elsbeth is trying to bring back. Yes. Right? Of like, you guys always talk crap about how a lawyer shouldn't be like a detective. Well, look at this Angela Lansbury character here. What was the name? Was it Jessica?
It was Jessica. Yeah, Jessica something. I totally just blanked on it. I know
if I hear it, I'll be like, yes, of course. How can I forget Jessica something or other?
Oh my gosh. This is a great time for people to tell us how wrong we are. Fletcher.
Jessica Fletcher. Yep. As soon as I heard it, it's like, yep, that's it. It's like, yeah, that lady was a book author and she was solving murders. So stop hassling me for being a lawyer solving crimes, okay? The TV landscape was full of people that don't solve crimes for a living solving crimes. So leave me alone. And I think this episode in particular is interesting to me because lately I have been listening to a lot of books about people that don't usually, like right now I'm listening to a book series by Jonathan Kellerman about a child psychologist that solves a lot of big cases and crimes. Like, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that happens to this guy, Dr. Alex Delaware, that I've been checking out this book series that started in the 80s. And man, it's tough because when you read / listen, because I don't think I've actually read anything for like at least 20 years on paper. Comic books don't count. But yeah, so I don't think I read a physical book in a good long time. Like it's happened.
Just take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow.
Can you tell that this podcast is run by elder millennials? I think you probably can. But anyway, listening to these books from like the 80s is a hard listen because there are some things that have really go out of style that are still in these books. I'm just like, oof, like couldn't be now.
Yeah.
Words and terms and things that are like, ugh. Like, and I give it a pass because it was in a time where, you know, you could say these things and be okay. That's interesting. But yeah, in a lot of these books I listen to, like, yeah, these people that have no business being detectives and investigating things are doing it and finding murderers and uncovering big plots. So this is kind of funny for me. And I've listened to and watched, you know, Jack Reacher, Alice Cross, all these book series that I've gotten into that really reminds me. And the fact that they talk about the fact that the character here, Elliot Pope, the author, like, man, this guy's not write women well. It's just like, yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot in these books that I read or cool. I'm just gonna call it read. I feel like
it is reading, Jason.
Okay,
it is like it's scientifically like you are reading. And also, if we think about it, like the first stories that humans ever told were oral traditions. Like it's not like reading is something that was like not until like the 1500s when we had like, well, I mean, we had parchment. There's a whole history there, but don't let anyone tell you if you're listening to audiobooks that you are not reading. Even LeVar Burton says you're reading. So
there you go.
I mean,
I feel like it's a very specific opinion of whether or not audiobooks count as reading. So yeah, I'm glad you're on my side of this.
Yeah,
this is an audiobook, you are reading.
You are.
So yeah, let's get into the episode. We're going to start as we. Oh yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay, we're going to start with the murder. So we open up, we see someone reading from seemingly their book, and who is it?
Jason.
It's
someone.
The character's name is Elliot Pope. He's played by Griffin Dunn, who, if you are fans like us of This Is Us, you would recognize him as Uncle Nicky.
It's definitely like he is part of Jason Marissa lore.
For sure.
We go way back with Griffin Dunn.
He's an important part of me and Marissa's origin stories as friends, as podcasters. I think This Is Us was our first was that our first? No, Cobra Kai was our first official. This was our first like I mean, let's go back in Jason and Marissa time machine time. We were part of a network called Post Show Recaps, where if anyone's listening that was from that time, I know there are some. Hi, this is your shout out.
Things are just getting started.
Yeah, from back in the Post Show Recaps universe. We used to go on the Discord and we used to like chat it up about This Is Us with some other people in that Discord, and it got to a level where the head of that network, Josh Wiggler, was like, you guys talk about it so much. Why don't you podcast about it?
It was actually, I think, like someone requested that there be a podcast, and then Josh was like, should there be? I guess there could be. Here you go. So it was definitely a fan. We would not be here if it were not for the fans.
Yeah, it happened so late into the run. It's like, okay, let's podcast the last.
Like there's 5 episodes left.
Yeah, let's podcast about the last 5 or 6 episodes of This Is Us ever. But that was our first like big non like sanctioned like, okay, well, let's just start this thing up. So that was fun for us. It really helped us build our rapport and our relationship as podcasters and friends. So yeah, that was us.
And we both like loved Uncle Nicky. Like we were like it was a big yes. So I was like, I even texted you, Jason. I was like, Jason, it's Uncle Nicky. Like he's our uncle. Like
it's Uncle Nicky. And you know, Uncle Nicky also not a stranger to us because you know, he's shown up on The Good Wife as well as a judge. We're like, when we showed up as a judge, like, oh my god, it's Uncle Nicky Judge. So you know, he was retroactively parts of our lives before This Is Us, and we didn't even realize it.
He was there the whole time.
He was there the whole time. And so yes, Elliot Pope is reading from his book, and this comes straight out of these books I'm talking about, where the man is this big swaggering guy, and then he finds this woman, and he's like objectifying the woman, and the woman turns out to be like some crazy person that's going to try and dismember him. It was so wild and bizarre. And we find out that the person moderating this little book reading is none other than Cousin Laddie from Perfect Strangers, Mark Linn-Baker. I was like, oh, like this is usually the murder victim is not usually this famous. Right?
I know. I was like, who's gonna kill who? Quite honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
because it could have been Mark Linn-Baker, aka Cousin Larry, as the murderer. I mean, they're both kind of like they're up there in the same level.
I mean, That's another one. Again, this episode is very elder millennial coded, given the references that we're gonna make, because Perfect Strangers, man, lives deep in my heart, and I was so happy to see Cousin Larry,
Cousin Laddie, and Cousin Balky. Perfect Strangers. Mark Linn-Baker. Also, I think his other big thing was like The Leftovers.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was his other. I think Perfect Strangers and Leftovers. There's in that like 30-year span of time between Perfect Strangers and Leftovers. I don't think he did much, but he showed up in two big bookend moments of pop culture.
Yeah.
So he is moderating this panel, and after Elliot reads his little passage, they have a conversation, and Barney's like, hey man, like you're doing great. You're a successful writer. Like I love this. It's great that you're coming. We come from the same small town. Like it's awesome. But it seems like you take a lot of influence from your past in writing these books. Elliot's like, hey, no way. Like I definitely don't do that. All the people I write about are made up people. I don't take anything from my past. How dare you suggest that I cull from my past as a person, as a writer.
It's almost like he's like, for the future, also, I do not write from personal experience. Just FYI, like none of this is all in my head. I'm just like that much of a genius, but I never take any inspiration from real life, in case you're wondering, in the future.
Yeah, things get a little, there's a vibe there. It's like a frenemy vibe of like, yeah, we knew each other as kids, like we were cool, but yeah, like Barney doesn't like the fact that Elliot does a bunch of like smut in his books, and Elliot's like, okay, well, who the F are you? Like I'm the famous writer here, okay? So after they do the whole panel thing, Elliot and Barney are like kind of just in the back room, in the shop room, where in Barney's bookstore, because Barney is both a critic of literature and also owns a bookshop. So that's where this conversation is happening, and they're in the storeroom of Barney's place. Elliot notes it's kind of run down back here. You got rats, all the stuff running around back here. Cool. Barney tells Elliot, hey, thanks for letting me moderate this thing. It's really fun, really good time. And Elliot's still a little upset that Barney suggested that he uses people for his story. He's like, I don't like that you said that out there. He's like, and Barney's like, hey, I didn't mean anything by it. Hey, why don't you let me take a look at some of your stuff you got coming up? So I just let me get a sneak peek. So I can give you some pointers, give you some tips about maybe what you could work on. Elliot's like, okay.
Like Elliot is like, it's first of all, it's handwritten, right? Like this is where he's like, it's handwritten, but he's so intense. He like goes up to Barney and like really threatens him.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, and that's a little later, as
Oh, did I skip ahead?
A little bit, just a tad bit.
Sorry. Back on track. Go.
Seemingly, Barney has convinced Elliot to give him like a early copy of some new he's working on. So we flash forward a little bit as we find out it's been about 2 months. Elliot is writing some more. Like he's like writing with a pen on just like loose leaf paper. It was like, okay,
Jason.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I would like to say, as someone who has spent time recently in the current school system, this is a very, very lost art. Yeah, this is also very, very important work, because someday your computer could blow up. Also, you don't necessarily own all of their stuff if you're putting it in the cloud. So I would just like recommend just like getting to remembering how to write some things down. Maybe I was working with someone at a museum recently, and they were writing like 5 things down, and then they were like, my hand hurts. And I was like, oh no, it's happening.
Listen, I don't even know if my daughter knows how to hold a pen. Okay, I have no idea.
These kids don't know how to do it. Like, I'm like, what do you mean you don't know how to write? Like, they're just typing the whole time.
Yeah. But I will say, but me myself, I don't know how often I've actually written anything in the last like few years.
This is why, again, I would like to remind everyone of the Get Jason a Pen Fund, because it is desperately needed, as he is just telling you right now.
It's so sad. I can't read. I can't write anymore. That's where we've gotten.
You're reading your notes. You're reading.
I mean, I could be doing all this by memory. Who knows? But yeah, Elliot is writing his book because, as he said before, he doesn't use any of his past experiences or people that he knows writing books.
That's right.
But in this new thing he's writing, he's like, and this, and he gave someone this thing and he hasn't seen or heard from him in 2 months. So again, he is using his past, his recent past, to influence his current books. So we find out through that it's been about 2 months, and Elliot's like, I'm gonna go check in with Barney, see what's going on. Goes over to Barney's store. Barney's like, hey bud, how you doing? Elliot's like, oh hey, great, like don't ask me about your book. Hey, how about you I got this first edition book. I'm gonna sell it to cover some of his rent costs, the economy and all that. Elliot's like, yeah. But about that manuscript I let you borrow, that I let you read. What's going on with that? Barney's like, oh yeah, that. Like you don't really want to hear what I have to say about it, right? Like, you're like, it's all good. And it's like, yeah, I didn't care when I walked in here, but now that you try to like not say it, now I want to hear it.
It's such a weird process, feedback, right? Like giving it, receiving it, trying to do, like, I gotta tell you, I love you peeps. I love the good folks. But there are weeks where I'm like, I can't look at the metrics. I can't look at anything because I don't want it to like get in my head in terms of feedback. So, and I've also been in Barney's position of like, I read this or I listened to this and I have some things to say. And it's such a delicate type of situation to navigate. Been on both sides of it.
as a podcaster, it is a tightrope that you walk of like, I want to see the feedback. I want to see the reviews, and the 5-star reviews make me feel great, make me feel ecstatic. And then you get a 1-star review where it's like, my whole life is meaningless. Like,
it's almost like, and I everyone, it's a free country, you can do it, but it's like, did you have to leave it? Like, did you have to leave the 1-star? Like, no stars is better than 1 star, right? Like in your mind, if it's not that great, like just don't say anything. Like that's fine.
You could have just said nothing, and it would have been fine. But yeah, so Elliot kind of is like, yeah, I didn't care, but now I kind of care because you're trying to dodge the question. So what's up? But he's like, oh well, I mean, the thing is, like, I didn't really like it. I didn't love it. It's like, it's kind of he says it's another sad masturbatory exercise steeped in misogyny and cruelty. And you once again utilize people from your past in Massapequa, the community that we grew up in, and pretty much took down everybody from your past except for your sainted mother, who you love and who made you tuna sandwiches. Everybody else got the short shrift, but your mother turns out to be a saint as usual. He says it made me want to vomit. I was like, wow.
Thank you for your service, cousin Larry. Always sticking up for us women, being there for us all these years later. Love it.
And it was like, he went from, I don't really want to say, to like, I'm going to tell you about yourself real quick. And Elliot did not like that. This is where he gets real intense and he goes, well, I don't really care about what someone like you would have to say about my works. You're just a wannabe loser of no importance who wishes he could write, but is incapable of holding anyone's interest, and your life is worthless. It was intense.
Yeah, it was intense.
He got in his face. He was like, he wasn't yelling, but he was like growling words out. It was wild.
And this is like the second time he did that, because before, when he gave him the manuscript, he's like, and if you lose it, I will kill you. And it wasn't like, I'll kill you. You know what I mean? Like, It was like, I will, like, that is one thing Uncle Nicky does pretty well. He can get pretty intense.
Oh yeah, for sure. We've seen it. We saw it in This Is Us. So we're familiar. It wasn't quite like this, but
this was like intense and menacing.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Like intense. The intense land is good land for Uncle Nicky.
Yeah, after the intense growling, Elliot, I think, realizes he's gone a little far. He's like, but Barney's just like, okay, all right, cool. And what about those books that you want me to sign for you? Says Elliot. It's like, so go ahead and grab the books you want me to sign. And as Barney is getting books off his bookshelf for Elliot to sign, Elliot sees himself an opportunity. And I think he fulfills a wish that a lot of us have when we're in, I mean, not the murder part, but like when you're in a library or a bookstore, you just kind of want to tip over the bookshelves and see like the domino effect. You don't have that thought. You don't have. I mean, I know you can't like see in your mind's eye to see that. But for those of us that do, I think a lot of us, envision this fantasy of like, what would it just be like if I just knocked over this bookshelf, and what would the effect be for all the other bookshelves? Is that just me? Is that just my dark heart?
Like I get it. There it would be, but I would feel like like my who's gonna clean that up, and like my eldest daughter responsibility would definitely like come in and prevent me from thinking any further about that.
I would do it and run. Marissa would do it and be like, let me
I'm so sorry.
Let me help you pick all these out. Like
I would be like, everyone clear, everyone all right, get out. All right.
If it takes me 24 hours, I'm gonna pick up all these books I knocked over.
I'll put them back in order. 2 decimals in my brain. I got it.
I feel like it's also that thing of where like, maybe I'm revealing too much about myself here, but like whenever you're like in like a stairwell of a lot of levels, like, do you ever look over the side and be like, I just wonder what it would be like to jump from here. Yeah. Like, I know I would die. I know it would not be good for me. And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not a like a suicidal ideation. It's just like, that would be
just like a what if.
Yeah, it's just like, that'd be so cool to do that if I could survive it, but I know I couldn't. Like, if I was in an action movie, that'd be awesome, but I'm not. I know it would kill me, so I'm not gonna do it. But it'd be pretty cool, just to jump off of here and just go down many flights of steps, just like see what it's like. But I feel like it's that kind of push and pull in your brain.
Do you think that like the camera would also have to turn in a way to make it look really cool while you're falling down the stairs?
Yeah, probably. Like, and I would only want to have a third person view of it. Like, like, my view would be fun. I would want to see me like jumping over the railing and just like being like, oh, that's so cool. But yeah, I think that's where that dark part comes in of like, what would it be like if I just knocked over all these bookshelves?
There used to be a segment on David Letterman's version of The Late Show when he would just throw stuff off the roof, and it was fun. Like, it was fun.
It's satisfying. Yeah. But yeah, so Elliot does this not for the fun and kicks of it. No. He's doing this to murder poor Barney. And Barney seems like he's like, murder. Barney seems like he's okay at first. Like, he's got the wind knocked out of him, because luckily there was a footstool there to kind of catch some of the weight of that last bookshelf that was going to fall on poor Barney. Mm-hmm. Barney is hurt, but he's still alive in this moment. He's just like, hey, Elliot, help me. And Elliot's like, yeah, I don't think so. And he takes a footstool that was propping up that last bookcase, takes the footstool out, and the bookcase, all the weight falls onto Barney and kills poor Barney. Barney, we hardly knew you. Cousin Larry. So yeah, Elliot kills Barney, takes his manuscript, and beats it out of there. Like, just heads out. So then 18 months later, it's been over a year since this murder.
I don't have a good sound effect for that one. I wish I did.
Yeah. So Elliot is once again doing another reading. This time he's reading from a book, and it's about the death of a friend. In the book, his friend, and he just says, the friend was like a mirror showing the person who he was. But again, this is not autobiographical. It's a character in a book. This is not Elliot. This is not Barney. This is a different situation. Because he sits down with this new moderator, Fred Harrison, who we have seen before,
apparently
in the Elsbeth universe. And I looked it up because, of course, we've had so many witnesses and experts running around the Elsbeth universe. I was like, okay, because we get the feeling later that Elsbeth knows this man. It's like, okay, where did Fred Harrison come in before? So apparently he was in earlier this season from the poetry episode where the guy from The Good Place, Chidi from The Good Place, was a owner of a poetry magazine, and he killed one of the writers of the poetry, or the lady that was going to leave him an endowment for the magazine, but she actually didn't. He was in that episode. I forgot what he contributed to the case. He probably was just someone that was talking to Elton and was like, hey, this person, this and that. She's like, oh, really? So that's probably where he gave his contribution. But yeah, so this is the new person moderating, and the moderator points out, that passage you just read is almost kind of like the same situation that your friend was in. This one is from an avalanche of snow, but your friend died from kind of an avalanche of books. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. Like, yes, there's like some similarities, but I assure you, all of my material is thought up right up here in my head. It's not from any real life situations at all.
Jason, we did talk a little bit about this before the pod, but I really wanted this guy to be Belky. Like, I really
Yes.
wanted like the next interview, like for it to just go through the characters from Perfect
Yes.
Strangers if we were going to
Exactly.
continue this trend. It was a cool callback, I will say. Like, it was nice. I mean, that we don't know about it yet in the episode, but it would have been even more of a nod to Perfect Strangers Land if Belky
Yeah.
was there.
And I feel like we kind of got away from that thing of random people from other episodes popping up for here and there for a minute or so.
Full of it.
Yeah, we came back to it because I feel like we've gone a while without that. Because I remember we were talking about it before. Like, why did the random girl from the bar episode pop back up in this other episode? But we got away from it for a while, but we're back to it a few different times this episode because we see in the audience of this book reading is both Elsbeth and her friend Cheryl from the yoga retreat episode that she kind of rescued from this retreat. This, I don't know if it was yoga, it was a spiritual retreat
/ almost cult recruitment situation.
Yes, exactly. So Cheryl and Elsbeth are in the audience, which is, it's interesting because I don't know if we do this a lot where like we're still kind of in the murder part of the episode and Elsbeth comes in. It's like, oh, Elsbeth is here before the investigation starts in earnest. So it's like, I know we've had that a few times, but now Elsbeth is here. It's like, oh, okay, Elsbeth's in the audience. So we take questions from the audience and Cheryl gets up and says, hey, just so you all know, I also wrote a book called Unwell about because I remember in the last time Cheryl was here, we did know that she wrote a book about her retreat experiences.
Well, because she was in the first episode of the season with the Colbert episode. Like she went with Elsbeth to the fake Colbert, but with Colbert show.
Yeah, they're like, Cheryl, like, we don't care about your book. Do you have any other questions? Like, no, well, I don't really. But here's my friend Elsbeth. She probably has some questions. So Elsbeth gets on the mic, and Fred's like, she's like, hey, Fred. And Fred's like, oh, yeah, it's you. Oh, okay. Ooh. And so Elsbeth points out the fact that, it's funny that the character in the book, Marty, died via avalanche in the book, but he wasn't really an athletic person, so why would he be out skiing in a place where they get crushed by snow? Also, you put in the book that the protagonist, their eyes met before Marty died. How could their eyes meet if the protagonist wasn't like, if the protagonist Eddie wasn't also in that same avalanche? Wouldn't Eddie also be dead? And Elliot's like, you're thinking too much about it. You're digging too much into it. It's not that big of a deal. Relax.
If Elsbeth was not involved in the law or law enforcement, she would make a fantastic editor for murder books.
Yes, for sure. So Elliot kind of is like, don't worry about it. You're just a stupid lady. Who cares? So later we get Cheryl and Elsbeth in line getting their books signed. Elliot is, of course, being a jerk. He doesn't wait. Cheryl offers to, like, in an exchange of authorly ideas, why don't you take my book and maybe, you'd like it. He's like, I'm good. I don't want your stupid little book. It's like, okay. Cool. Elsbeth gets in line also. She's like, hey, sorry about my outburst earlier. It's just kind of what I do, And she pokes more holes into Elliot's story. And it's like, also, I know that your friend Barney died, and it's funny because, were you there with him that night? You just kind of poking holes in the whole thing about how Elliot found out, because Elliot did mention that he found out from Barney's widow, but then when he's talking to Elsbeth, he's like, oh yeah, when I read about it in the paper, she's like, but you told us earlier that the widow called you. So which one is it? He's like, I don't know, whatever. And he's like, it's not like any of these murder mysteries that you read. She's like, Elsbeth says,
who's the
anything about murder? You the one that called it murder. That's weird. And so,
well, and he also, like, and this is like, you pay attention to like the tiniest details. Like, don't even think about that. And this is Elsbeth's core, right? Like, this is who she is. She's like, okay, but yes. Then she points out, like, I didn't say anything about murder. You said murder. I didn't say murder. You did.
So Elsbeth's radar is officially up. She's like, something's funky about this. And before we leave the bookstore, Fred does say, that lady, she's real kooky. And something else? She works for the police. And so now Elliot is freaked out as well. So we seems like we got the cat and mouse all ready to be in the trap here.
Yes.
So let's move on officially to the investigation. Dun, dun, dun. We start in the precinct, of course, of all places, and Elsbeth has gotten all of Elliot Pope's books, and she is presenting them to Wagner and Connor.
Yes, I know. Also, before we get into the oh my gosh, Connor is here, but she presents it as an avalanche of books. Like she has them all like stacked up, and then they all fall like an avalanche onto Wagner's desk. But yeah, apparently Lieutenant Connor's back. Look at that.
Yeah, who knows who will pop up at any given moment? Who knows? We might see Cameron again before this season is over.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! God, we have to see Kaya at least one more time before the season is out. But yeah, I honestly thought they had just kind of written off Connor. We're just like, let's just say he's poking around at some point. But Connor is actually here in a big part of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Elsbeth tells him like, hey, something is really off about this new book. The death of the character Marty in the book is way too close to Barney's death. It's just really weird. It's kind of like, the avalanche of snow is kind of like the avalanche of bookshelves that killed Barney. So something's weird about this. And also, the character Eddie in all of Elliot's books never really feels bad about his friends' deaths. So this kind of feels like he's writing about his own experience in these books. And it seems like he's really trying to distance himself from Barney's death. But he couldn't resist writing about it. So he had to put it down in pen form, but he couldn't admit that it was him. It's like, okay, all right. So we got something.
I don't want to say like typical man, but yep.
Well, you did say it though. So then we shift over to Grace, Officer Grace. Again, we haven't seen her in a minute. Grace is back.
Officer Haha.
Officer Haha, Officer Funny, Officer Stand Up. And she's using her corkboard skills to kind of illustrate the life of Barney, the review writer, the bookstore owner, the critic. And she talks a little bit about it. She says, the original police report from Barney's death ruled it an accident. So that's where so the file is pretty thin because obviously Elsbeth was not around at this specific case. So whoever the detective was, probably Smolin, came in there and was like, oh, accidental death.
Done deal.
Let's wrap it up. So Elsbeth knows the fact that, Elliot did try to really dissuade her from thinking about the facts of the case. And so she asked Wagner, it's kind of a slow time in New York homicide right now. Can I just pick this up? Elsbeth is once again making a case for herself. Like, do we not have enough homicides in New York to investigate? To be like, hey, I'm bored. Why don't I do this instead? Wagner, of course, is hesitant. He's like, I don't know, Elsbeth. It seems really thin here. I don't know. And so Elsbeth is trying to convince him. She's like, come on, let me. She says, Wagner says, your consent decree does not include making cases where none exist. Elsbeth's like, well, it does include me possibly picking up something that was missed, and that's what this would be.
Exactly. I was like, more consent decree clarification, even though we don't know. Maybe it's still happening. I guess it's still happening. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's
they're trying so hard to justify this consent decree thing. And so Wagner's like, well, I don't know. And he says, Lieutenant Connor, what do you have to say? Like, I'm tired of making all decisions. It's up to Connor.
Yeah. I thought it was like a little unfair to put him in that situation. Like, first of all, welcome back. Second of all, you're gonna have to make this call.
Connor says, well, I agree with
Chief Wagner. Yeah,
there is not enough evidence to reopen this case yet. Elsbeth takes this as a full go of like, yes, I can investigate and I can find more evidence. Thank you, Connor. Wagner's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, Grace is ready for it too.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So with the go ahead from Connor, Elsbeth decides to hassle poor Barney's widow, and she.
Yes, I was gonna say Barney's widow, who is a legend in her own right. The character's name is Bev, but the actress's name is Didi Conn. Didi Conn, I don't know if you grew up watching Grease like I did. Apparently, she's in Grease. She's Frankie in Grease. She's also hanging out with Josh Charles on his new show, Best Medicine, playing this lady named Geneva. Kind of like, kind of like Gilmore Girlsy. And then Jason,
yeah,
Shining Time Station.
You really rocked my world in the pre-show. You were like, "Hey, you remember her from Shining Time Station?" Which, Lord, if that was such a blast for my past. Deep cut. For those that don't remember, Shining Time Station. But
it was such a wacky show. Ringo Starr and George Carlin. Come on.
Wow, I forgot about it. Because I mean, I think for me, it was this, and now that I know more about TV and all that, it was a framing device for the Thomas the Tank show, which I don't know how Marissa knew this, but it was a part of my childhood. Because we're both elder millennials. So the fact that when she said Shining Time Station, it just transported me back to like 5 years old watching Shining Time Station. There was, because when she said that, it immediately brought me back to this woman, Barney's wife in the show, in her like train station uniform get up. I was like, oh my God, I remember that.
But her voice, isn't her voice also like ingrained in your brain somewhere? Because like anytime, like I literally, anytime I hear her on TV, I'm like, I must pay attention.
Like the way that it just shot me back into time. And do you remember the little jukebox characters that were in Shining Time Station? Whenever they put a quarter into the machine, the little jukebox animals would play. It's Marissa. You know what you're missing out on not having a mind's eye.
I'm like, I'm gonna need to rewatch. I'm gonna have to YouTube some Shining Time Station, because also like I'll never forget. I grew up. My parents were really into stand-up, and so like we'd watch a lot of like HBO specials that I probably shouldn't have watched. And then I was like, George Carlin, the guy who just told me there's 7 words you can't say on television, is here. And then also like Ringo Starr is also here. Wacky show. Good part of my childhood as well, though. So I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad I could remind you of the legend of Didi Conn, because it was so fun to see her show up here.
Yeah, love it. So yeah, and in this universe, she is the widow of Barney. She's taken over the bookstore. Elsbeth is asking her questions. She says, "Listen, I just want to know all I can about the case. In case something was missed." And Barney's wife goes, "Oh, so I knew there was something weird about this whole thing. Like, and they just told me it was an accident." So she says, "Yeah, you can go back there and look if you're not afraid of rats, because there's a lot of rats going on in this back room that Barney's got." And Elsbeth's like,
apparently there was a rat friend.
Barney was alone in that storeroom, and his only friend was this rat. So Elsbeth says, "No, I don't like rats, but I know some people that do like rats." So she calls the rat catchers, the rat people, from a different episode, which this
episode 15.
Yeah, this was the one where Elsbeth was investigating a psychic who was like taking this like older rich woman's money and pretending she was talking to her husband. Or I think the woman was like she had a snack company left to her by her husband, and the husband from the grave was telling her what to do with the snack company, but it was actually benefiting the psychic through some different way. I forgot how the rat catchers came into this. I wonder if this was meant to be like, did they think they were getting 16 episodes and then they got an additional 4?
This is what I'm saying. Like, I think like the first couple episodes and the last couple episodes are like how Elsbeth should be, but then like the middle ones were like, oh, we're gonna put in this formulaic something to spread things out, because this episode, like, it's very Stefan. This episode has everything. We've got callbacks. We've got guest stars. We've got relationship news. We've got, like all of this stuff happening in this one episode, which is what we sort of came to expect from an Elsbeth episode in the first season, at least for sure, of the show. And so I don't know if it's part of their playbook or whatever, but, and I know this season was like a kind of like, will they, won't they, what's going to happen to the show type of season production wise. So maybe they had to like buffer in those episodes in the middle, but I really liked this episode, and hopefully the next one also continues this momentum and we, get some Kaya stuff going on in it as well. But it's definitely like 2 different styles of television that we're watching this season.
It definitely has season finale vibes in this episode, because it wraps up a lot. There's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of cameos. So I had to wonder, like, did they think they were getting 10 episodes like usual, or like the first season? And it was like, no, you're actually getting 20. So there's like, there's you can put more on the front and more on the back. Did they film up to episode 16? And like, guess what? You're getting 4 more. And it's like, oh, well, we kind of wrapped up a lot. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do with that. So yeah, but it's just noted of like how this really felt like, because a lot of things ended, a lot of things happened. So just keep an eye out on these last 4 episodes and see what the vibe is with these episodes. So yeah, she calls the rat catchers from that other episode to come get the rat. Really a inconsequential cameo. Nothing really came of it. No,
they got the rat.
They got the rat. It was like, did we really need that? I don't think we really did. But hey, it was fun to catch up with those people. It's just like earlier in the season where it's like, that person had no effect on the story at all. I guess it was nice to see them again. Yeah. But like, it's like they had no effect on the outcome at all.
It's like, New York is that small town, big town vibe of where you run into everybody.
So with Templeton, which is what they named the rat, out of the stock room, Elsbeth goes to check out the scene. The widow says, yeah, everything is pretty much exactly the same before Barney's death. The only difference is they put all the bookcases back upright. So Elsbeth's like, okay, cool. Elsbeth acts out the murder scene. It's like, what happens? And again, Elsbeth is acting out this woman's husband's death in front of her. Like, real sensitive, Elsbeth, real sensitive. But Elsbeth does find something. What did Elsbeth find? We find out when we go back to the precinct, and Grace and Elsbeth are presenting this new evidence, which the evidence is that Elsbeth found a footstool that has scratches on the footstool, which tells her that the scratches came from the bookcases falling down, which tells her that a bookcase fell on this footstool but was taken out by someone. She pretty much lays out exactly how Elliot killed Barney. And Wagner kind of puts like a little, I don't think so, and kind of has a different explanation. Elsbeth's like, you literally love doing that to me, don't you? Like, telling me I don't have this evidence. Like, yeah, you got that right. So, okay, we're on to something, but it's not quite enough. Wagner says, this isn't really evidence, Elsbeth. We're going to need a little bit more. And Grace says, well, there was this witness that came up to the store and saw that the close sign was up, but the store didn't close for another 2 hours. So that's weird, right? Why would the store be closed before the official closing time? It's like,
ding, ding.
This prompts Connor to say, well, I think that's enough to actually get us to kind of reopen this case. Much to Wagner's chagrin. Oh, fine. Go ahead and do what you got to do. Elsbeth says, okay, all right. So now that the case is reopened, which detective are you going to give me? So again, like, now we have a real case. Wagner says, oh, no. You're not getting a detective for this one. Says Connor is the one that decided this is going to be a new case. He's going to assist you on this. So, and so we get another little cut. We see Elliot writing again. He's talking about the woman in the bright colors, always digging around, looking at things she shouldn't be. I was like, oh, that was a nice little
cameo in his book. But also, like, Elsbeth really did bright color at this season or this episode. Like, she was super bright.
the Technicolor coat of Elsbeth. Elsbeth and the Technicolor dream coat. So later we see Elsbeth telling Wagner, like, listen, I'm trying to talk to Elliot Pope and trying to get in his business, but his agent is just, keeping us away. So she kind of asks, like, so do you think I could just go and find Elliot? Wagner's like, oh, okay, if you insist. She's like, great, awesome. So this is pretty much like another more tacit permission for Elsbeth to kind of like stalk someone. So she, quote unquote, runs into Elliot as he is outside of his favorite deli getting a tuna fish sandwich just like his mama used to make. He says, mom's the only woman that never disappointed me. Boy, real incel talk. Let me just say.
Do you have a podcast, bro? Because like, totally, man.
I have some red pills for you. Would you like to take them? So Elliot is like, do you actually have a reason to be coming and talking to me, or are you just attracted to me? I was
like, my God.
Oh
my
gross.
God. Oh my gross.
God. So Elsbeth, as Elsbeth likes to do, lays out all the evidence to basically tell Elliot, we're on to you. She talks about the footstool having marks on it, and the store was closed early. Do you know anything about that? It's like, actually, why don't you come to dinner with me? You seem like a very interesting character, and I want to write about you. She says, I thought you didn't write about people that you knew. He's like, well, I just want to use you as fodder. I'm not going to write about you. You just be fodder for my imagination. It's like, okay. Elsa says, fine, but just so we're both on the same page, this is not a romantic dinner. Elliot says, fine.
Yeah, it's not. Also, no. Also gross. Also,
Stay away. You're not a firefighter. Why are you interested?
Yes, gross.
So later, Barney's widow shows up at the precinct and she points out the fact that, hey, Barney had a fax machine. I know it's real old school, but I thought, yeah.
But real side note though, big season for fax machines in television. It was a big main plot point on The Pit. And it also showed up here. So I don't know if you got a fax machine. You might want to fire it up, start making some stuff happen. It may be the way of the future because it's the second TV show I've seen a fax machine in.
The last time I really had a beef with a fax machine is when a player on the Baltimore Ravens didn't get signed because they didn't get his paperwork faxed over to the front office in time because the fax machine was broken. So he didn't get signed to the Ravens. And that was the last time a fax machine really played into my life. That was a while ago. You can imagine.
You want to know a fun fact about Dolly Parton?
Sure. Always.
She does not email. She does not text.
Wow.
She faxes.
It's kind of like the legend about Bill Murray, where he doesn't have a cell phone. You can only reach him via payphone or something weird like that.
I believe that one. That one, yeah. I believe the Dolly one, but that one also makes sense. But yes, fax machines, peeps, and also who could forget the starring role of the fax machine in Office Space? Classic.
Classic.
Continue.
So she's like, yeah, he's got this fax machine and I plugged it up and all these faxes came running out. So I just figured it might be interesting to see what these numbers are that he was faxing, which because Grace is like, yeah, I'm on it, which is like, I feel like in most of the cases he'd be like, yeah, sure, lady, we'll check all those fax numbers. But this actually led to something because Grace says, interestingly enough, all these fax numbers are linked to someone named Maura Davidoff.
Yeah.
Turns out to be Elliot's first wife.
And also turns out to be Joanna Gleason, who we have seen in other good properties. And I did look up because remember, like anytime she comes up, I'm like, she's Joanna Gleason. And I don't know why I know her name, but turns out there was the show called Love and War in the 90s with Annie Potts and Jay Thomas. And apparently this was on a lot in my life because Joanna Gleason showed up there. She also was Leo's love interest on The West Wing.
Oh, interesting.
In case you're wondering.
Yeah. Also, she plays a judge in The Good Verse. Yes. Not one that's like memorable enough for me to remember, but like
she's around.
She's around. So yes, so that's interesting. Why is Maura Davidoff, Elliot's first wife, talking to Barney? So Connor and Elsbeth visit Maura. I'm like, were you and Barney having like some sort of fax, secret relationship? Like, were there fax and sex, together? FAX and SEX? Maura says, no. She says, but it would serve Elliot right for all the philandering he did on me if I was doing philandering on him with Barney. But no, that's not the case. She talks about the fact that Elliot has had several lawsuits from several women that he's worked with. She says he tries to seduce them with Russian food and schnapps, which if you remember, Elliot invited Elsbeth to go have some Russian food and schnapps. So Elsbeth sees the writing on the wall with what Elliot's trying to do in this way. Maura goes, you can read about it in my book, Writer's Wife Strife, but it only sold 147 copies. Connor goes, that sounds low. Thank you, Connor. Thank you. They go, okay, so you weren't having a relationship with Barney. So what was with all the faxing? She says, well, since Barney couldn't actually write reviews of Elliot's books because it would be impartial because he knew he and Elliot had a relationship before they became who they were. Barney would send her all of his reviews he couldn't publish of Elliot's work, and they were all scathing reviews, terrible reviews. And Elsbeth finds the Troubled Pants, which is the book that Barney was going to look at for Elliot.
The manuscript.
Manuscript that actually didn't get published, which is the one that caused this strife between Elliot and Barney. Elsbeth finds this review in the faxes. She goes, huh, that's interesting. This is a book that's never been published. Why does Barney have it? And what does this have to do? It's the most recent review as well. This leads us more to Elliot's doorstep of like, what is going on with this? So next we go to a book club of sorts with Connor, Cheryl, Grace, and Elsbeth all holding the book club, all reading Elliot's books to try and find any other pertinent information, because Elliot seemingly writes about all of his experiences in his books, although he claims he doesn't. Elsbeth also made her own tuna sandwiches inspired by
it's
Elliot's
very like a book club thing, like have like some sort of themed food. So I appreciated it.
In this book club, Cheryl points out a part of Elliot's books where Eddie Bishop, who is the protagonist, who also is a parallel for Elliot, Eddie Bishop's mother really complimented another boy's penmanship. Could that boy be a parallel to Barney? Could Elliot be jealous of Barney? Could it all lead to this?
Also be why he writes all his manuscripts by hand, because he's still trying to prove to his mom that he has good penmanship. What?
Deep thoughts. Cheryl also points out the fact that, as a published author, we like to go into bookstores and make sure that our books are prominently displayed in every bookstore we go into. It's like, okay, interesting. And we also saw when Elliot came back to the bookstore, he was rearranging all the books so that his books would take up the prominent shelf space. Okay, so that's something to note as well. Elsbeth also tells the gang she's going out to dinner with Elliot. They're like, oh my God, be careful. Elsa says, don't worry, I met plenty of charming monsters.
I mean, she has. I mean, that's for real.
Yeah. So we do get to the dinner with Elsbeth and Elliot. Elliot, of course, being Elliot, decides to order for both of them, and he orders them borscht. He's like, you don't know what you want. You've never been here. It's like, ooh, just classic toxic male behavior.
No me gusta. No me gusta.
Or
as the kids say, no boy boy.
No boy boy. Yeah, keep it going. No boy boy.
Yeah, it's happening.
Elsbeth takes this time to say, something's funny. I got some photos I want to show you. Here's some photos of Barney's bookshop before he died and photos of Barney's bookshop after he died. The before picture has a normal looking book display, a lot of different various authors and books. But right after Barney died, it seemed as if all of your books, Elliot, were prominently on display. That's weird, right? Elliot goes, I don't know anything about that. Maybe it was just a fan that was tired of all the disrespect that I was being shown by Barney's bookstore. Wanted to make sure that I was front and center. Elsa goes, okay. And she does also point out, and also we found a lot of reviews that Barney did of all your books. And Elliot goes, no, that's not right. Barney never wrote reviews of my books. He would never do that. And she's like, oh, but he did. He sent them to your first wife. Elliot is taken aback by this. He's like, oh, interesting. Okay. And Elsbeth also puts out there, and Fred Harrison, the same guy that moderated your book panel after Barney, decided he's going to publish all these reviews and to help with Barney's widow's finances.
So nice.
She goes, if Barney hadn't died, these bad reviews of your books would never have come to light. It's kind of Elsbeth's way of being like, you kind of hoisted yourself on your own petard there, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I mean, she's doing a good job getting him annoyed, because I am majorly annoyed at this whole entire dinner.
Yeah. So Elsbeth, talks about the fact that, and also we found the Troubled Pants manuscript. And he goes, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. It's like, okay, cool. After he unsuccessfully tries to convince Elsbeth to come back to his place with him.
We talk about that moment though, real quick? Because he's like, well, hey, after this, maybe you could just because at this moment there's news that happens. We see that Alec has won the mayorship, which we'll talk about at the end of and closer to the end of the episode. But he's like, hey, so why don't we go back to my place and celebrate? We have a new mayor or whatever. And I just loved, first of all, Uncle Nicky, that's gross. Second of all, Elspeth was looks at him like, are you out of your mind?
She shuts him. shuts him down without a care. It's like, no, that's not gonna be happening. Like, and I love that with every turn it's happened. It happens a few times in this episode where she's just like, no, not interested in you, no thanks. Like, I love that for Elsbeth. So after he unsuccessfully convinces Elsbeth to come back to his house, he goes back to his house and burns Troubled Pants. And he which also sets off the fire alarm, which I guess brings firefighters to his house.
Yeah, we had to get firefighters in here somehow.
Yeah, because the next day, Elsbeth and Wagner are walking in the precinct, and they're talking about the fact that there was a fire at Elliot's house, and that Elsbeth was tipped off by Fire Marshal Jake, which is not a in-person cameo, but it's like a name check cameo.
Shout out
from like the first episode of season 2, I think, was when we saw Fire Marshal Jake, who was trying to hit on Elsbeth.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I think like the bookend of the season has a lot of connections, and then the middle is just kind of there.
Yeah. And Elsbeth knows the fact that the fire was in the office that Elliot writes in, not the kitchen, as you would expect a fire alarm would be set off in. Wagner says, okay, fine. It seems like you're going somewhere here. So keep going with the case, but you do need to prove that Elliot was in the bookstore with Barney at the night of his death. It's like, okay, that's what we're looking for here. That's our smoking gun, if you will. So Elsbeth, I love the dogged pursuit that Elsbeth gives to Elliot, and the fact that we talked about last episode, where some of the victims and the murderers are kind of flip-flopped, where we kind of root for the murderer and not the victim. This was a good instance of, we feel for the victim, we really want to get justice for the victim, and the murderer is terrible. He's a scumbag. So yes. I think Elsbeth also relishes in getting under this man's skin because he's so terrible. So I think she relishes in going to in messing with him, because in this next scene, Elsbeth brings Elliot a tuna fish sandwich, and Elliot comments on the fact that, I can never find a sandwich around here that really mimics very well my mother's tuna fish sandwich. He bites into this tuna fish sandwich and says, "Oh, this is actually like almost exactly like what my mother's tuna fish sandwiches was." And Elsbeth says, "Huh, that's interesting, because it's from the same diner that's near your childhood home," which I take that to mean that your mother never actually made tuna fish sandwiches. She just pretended to and lied to you and told you that she made them. But this kind of shatters Elliot's reality.
And also, Elliot, I hate to tell you, but the tooth fairy, also not real.
Whoa.
Also not there. Yeah.
Also. Marissa, whoa.
Call me.
I almost called you Elsbeth. Let's not start besmirching some mythical.
Sorry if you're listening.
Can you prove the tooth fairy doesn't exist?
I cannot prove that. That's true. Okay. That's true. But it was like that kind of reaction, right? Like, it was like,
he was like, "Oh my God, everything I know was a lie." Elsbeth goes, "Oh, well, look at it this way. She loves you enough to lie to you." I was like, wow, like, she is being real cutthroat.
Okay, but also let's bookmark that sentence. She loves you enough to lie to you. Mm-hmm. Let's just like keep that there for a future conversation about some characters.
Yeah, for sure. And so as Elsbeth is distracting Elliot with this new reality that his mother lied to him about the tuna fish sandwiches, she's also looking for the Troubled Pants manuscript. Mm-hmm. Elliot says, "I know what you're looking for, but there's no point. It's not here." She goes, which also, you just said the other day that Troubled Pants wasn't a thing. And now you're saying it's not here. It's like, okay,
it's just like he didn't say murder and then he said murder.
Yeah, kind of telling on yourself there. And Elliot notes, I don't know why you think I was, the murder here. I would not ever set foot into that stockroom of Barney's. I don't like rats. Elsa says, "Aha! How did you know there were rats in Barney's stockroom if you were never there?" Elliot says, "Well, I mean, it's a small community. Where it gets around. And then so Elsbeth digs a little deeper into Elliot's kind of like masculinity and manhood. And she goes, "It's an interesting fact about you I learned is that they've stopped letting you hire female interns. You have a severe woman problem." Mm-hmm. I mean, set an alpha man off by telling him that. You have a woman problem. Mm-hmm. And this, Elliot goes off. He says, "No, I do not have a woman problem. I have a problem with women like you, liars that try and trap me. The fact is, I remind you of your father, who you disappointed with every man you ever met. I will not let you tear me down. I will remain a giant in the book publishing business. It was
again intense,
scary, and I feel like it was so real too. It's like I feel like this is a scene out of like many different scary situations.
Yes. Quick question. Do you know what else is intense?
What?
Campers. Yeah, they're
intense. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. You got me there, Marissa, with lovely dad joke. My gosh. Did you get that one from your father?
No, it's mine. It's my favorite. My dad's favorite joke is, I was going to get you bread, but I forgot your bread.
Oh my gosh. Well, give that one to your dad, because that'd be perfect for him. Luckily, Elsbeth is able to escape Mickey's stare and wrath. That was scary. I was like, oh my God. It was wild. So the next scene we get is Teddy and Elsbeth are out walking Gonzo. They're trying to get Gonzo to poop. Like, oh my God, Gonzo, come on, poop.
Okay, yeah, continue.
Teddy is giving Elsbeth some kudos for how she's handling the Alec situation.
But she also says in this conversation, she's like, something about how she looks at men. And Teddy goes, it's a sign of a highly intelligent woman. And I was like, damn straight.
Damn straight.
That's right.
So finally we get Gonzo to take a deuce, and Elsbeth is having trouble with the poop bag. She goes, these poop bags are always so hard to get open. I always have to Eureka moment. We don't know in this moment what the Eureka is that Elsbeth has come up with, but we know that she's gotten her Eureka moment by trying to open a poop bag for Gonzo. Yeah. Okay. Something's happening. Something has clicked with Elsbeth. We don't know what it is yet. So now it's time for the big arrest, the big reveal. Elliot is doing yet another book event. And as the audience is leaving, Grace, Elsbeth, and Connor all show up.
I think it's actually like before the event, like she's trying to, or maybe it's after. I don't know, because they were talking about like getting ready, but they were talking about like, okay, you read the book, and then I'll do the thing, and I'll do the whatever. But she like pushes her way through the crowd, which we can't help but notice her because she is dressed in her Technicolor dream coat at this point. It is like, it's like that Snoopy meme, you know, the Snoopy meme where he's in his coat and with the hood, with the hat on, like it's like Winter Snoopy. I can't.
Oh, vaguely.
You know, like look, you'll know it when you see it. But it was like the Elsbeth version of that.
Yeah. So she's here in all her Technicolor wonder, and they go, "You, sir, murdered." Freudian slip. You murdered Barney Corman. So Elsbeth says, "You know, I read the book that Barney was clutching in his hands as he died." Mm-hmm. He says, you know, and that guy, that author, he really knows how to write women. And Grace goes, it's as if he thinks of them as fully dimensional human beings. I was like, damn, go Grace. Get it, Grace. They talk about the death in the book that that Barney was holding in the book. Wouldn't you know it?
It's called Howard's End.
Wouldn't you know it? In Howard's End, someone does die via a bookcase falling on them, like an avalanche. Elliot goes, okay, this is all fun. This is all cool, but this isn't proof. This isn't proof that I murdered Barney. Elsbeth says, yeah, you're right, but we did find DNA on the book that Barney was holding. And we know that Barney had only had that book that night because he took it out of his deposit box that night. So you must have been in the storage room with him that night because your DNA is on the pages because you like to lick your thumb every time you turn a page to get the page turned. Some of the pages stick or some of the pages are not easily turned. So you lick your thumb and you turn the page. You know what else has your DNA on it? The book that you signed for me. So that's how we got your DNA. Because Elliot goes, well, I didn't give you my DNA, so how would you have it? She said, well, the book you signed for me. Also, you lick your freaking little thumb and put it on all over my book. I got your saliva on my book. So that's how we got the DNA for both your book and the book that Barney was holding. Bang, boom, you're the murderer.
Lesson of the day, don't lick things.
Don't lick things. That is a good that's a good life lesson for everyone.
Yeah, just keep that one in the back pocket.
I mean, listen, some things need to be licked. Other things,
there are times
other things you shouldn't lick.
when that can happen, but most times I would say
unless you're DJ Khaled. If you know, you know. Not gonna spell that one out for you. Look it up if you don't know it. Put in DJ Khaled and lick, and you'll get it. In Google.
And we're good.
So yeah, so we got your DNA. We matched it to Barney's book, Bing Bang Boom. You're a murderer. Yeah. So
yeah, like, and she's like, you're not good at making things up, and I'm thinking to myself, Jason, what if he has aphantasia? What if he can't make things up? Like I can make things up. Like I can make things up, but I can't like see the things that I make up. So maybe there's some sort of thing. I mean, I'm not trying to like this man murdered this.
You're not trying to sympathize with Elliot. You're just saying. Just saying.
I'm looking for aphantasic representation.
And on the way out, Elliot is like, well, all my lies have won me shelves full of prizes. What have your lies gotten you?
Oh, okay. It's almost as if, Jason, go with me here. Go with me on this journey.
I'm with you.
It's almost as if there's a system that is built to reward men for their lies.
What?
And then when women lie, I mean, not saying that people should be rewarded for lies, but I'm just saying maybe it's not that you're a prolific writer, Uncle Nicky. Maybe it's not that you like put things together from your life and don't have an original thought of your own, Uncle Nicky, that wins you these prizes. But maybe there's a system at play here that supports men, specifically white men. Maybe just, I know it's a long shot. I know it's like also theoretically, allegedly, there could be a system where this happens.
That rewards men, even
white
though they
men
lie.
Specifically.
White men, even though they lie, but punishes women for any small indiscretion.
Almost if like, I don't know if you would want to look at also some like women in leadership roles who get fired because of one little thing. Like, I don't know. But also then we have men who are also felons in leadership positions. So this is ringing a bell. It's a far fetch. I know, but
not ringing a bell, Marissa, not ringing a bell. But what about her emails though? What about the emails? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Marissa. Just imagine living in that type of society. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Oh,
man, anyway,
I'm so glad we're not there. Yeah.
Anyway, so the case is wrapped up. Elliot is arrested. I don't think well, I will say the whole saliva page thing is interesting, but I don't think Elsa really had to stretch her investigative skills too hard for this one.
No. She had the intuitive hit. She knew something was up. But she had to find something. Like, she would have taken anything.
And I think Elliot could have easily talked his way out of this, or should have been able to talk his way out of it. He should have just been said, yeah, after the signing, I did go back into the storeroom and I talked to Elliot. We're friends. Like, I looked through that book.
The event with me, and we had a collegial conversation.
Yeah, but then I left. I don't know what happened after I left. I mean, obviously, maybe he decided to close up early. I don't know. I have no idea why he closed the store early. All I know is when I left, he was alive and well in his little stock room. He must have had an accident with the bookshelves. That's what must have happened. I don't know.
I mean, I may have been there when he pushed them over on himself.
I don't go that far, but when I left him, he was alive and well. I don't know what happened after.
But my lies win me prizes, Jason. So obviously,
so he told himself, like they like to do. Elliot's arrested. Barney has been vindicated for his death.
Yes.
So all's well that ends well in that case. Let's move on to our other storyline, the Alec Bloom for mayor storyline. This storyline starts out with Marissa's back. Marissa's here.
Love it.
Marissa is here on the Good Pod and here on Elsbeth.
Choice the Marissa.
Yeah, she and Wagner are having a little meeting. goes, just so you know,
Little hush hush.
what I'm about to tell you has to stay top secret. But Alec has decided if he gets appointed mayor, he wants to appoint you as police commissioner, Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
Wagner's like, oh, really? Oh, wow. I never thought I'd see the day. Elsbeth comes bopping in, and Marissa, even though she just told Wagner it was top secret, Marissa tells Elsbeth, yeah, Wagner's might be commissioner. It's like, oh, okay.
Can I just tell you, anytime, it's really hard for me to take anyone in the position of commissioner seriously because of Batman. I literally just think, I was like, oh, he'd put on the light. Like, that's like,
that's all he does.
That's all he does.
He hears a crime and he calls his friend Batman.
Puts the light on. That's it.
Oh, that's funny. What would Elsbeth's light be?
A tote bag.
Bag, yeah.
Yeah.
Put on the bag signal, not the bat signal, the bag signal. Yes. So yeah, Marissa tells Elsbeth about the thing. She's like, oh, yeah, Alec likes Elsbeth, so I can tell her it's fine. And as Marissa is leaving, she tells Wagner, hey, if you're interested, you need to let me know. Make sure that you don't lead Alec on. Be clear with him what you want, because he deserves that. As she is staring at Elsbeth, she is saying this.
Okay, like, I love the sentiment of this, but again, I don't think it was very earned. Like, how does Marissa know this? We don't know. We don't know how Marissa knows this. And I don't really think that Elsbeth was like leading Alec on anyway. I think she was genuinely confused about stuff. Yeah. So, like, I don't really know how Marissa comes to this shade moment. Like, I understand the sentiment, and I don't think that Elsbeth would want to lead anyone on. But again, how did we get here? I don't know.
I have no idea. This story is so confusing. Wagner tells Elsbeth, yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I do think I'll take the job if I'm offered it. But if I do get the job, I'm gonna have to review this whole consent decree thing. Basically, being like, I don't know if I can let you keep your job if I'm a commissioner. And I was just like, okay, do whatever you gotta do, buddy.
Like, again, in my brain, which I cannot see it, I'm just like, I've been thinking about turning on that light. Like, my whole life. That's all I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about the day that I've turned on the light. I don't know what it is. But yes, Elsbeth is like, don't let me get in the way of this thing. You've done so much for me already. Like, don't.
But also, you mean to tell me, Wagner, if you become commissioner, you might eliminate Elsbeth's job? How?
Okay.
In what world does that make any sense?
Mean that you'd have to become an actual investigator, or
we'll turn you to an official consultant, but I can't keep hiding behind this consent decree thing. It felt like he was like, I might have to get rid of you, Elsbeth.
It did. Yeah.
Like, no. Why on God's green earth would you do that? she has solved so many cases for you. It's not as if, like, if he told her, like, we'll have to figure out another position for you, or have to figure out how we can help
it was to tell us. It was to tell us. It was for us. It wasn't for her. It was for us to be like, oh man, we don't want Wagner to get this now.
Yeah, it was like, that's ridiculous. Like, how does it make any lick of sense? And so as Elsbeth and Elliot are out to lunch, we find out that it's election day, and Alec has been elected mayor. It's like the way this show ramps up to ends of storylines, and then just kind of like,
you would think there would have been a conversation of like, oh hey, did you vote today? Or even like having like a vote sticker on or something like that. There
was in the book club meeting, it was mentioned, like, they're like, oh, you're gonna go to dinner with Elliot on the night of the election to distract you from the election. But it was just so, it was such a nothing. It was a fart in the wind of an ending of like, oh, hey, by the way, Alec is now mayor. It's like, oh, okay.
And also it was like, people of New York, I apologize for lying to you. I'm mayor. Like, it was.
Well, no, he also says, and there are people that are not in this room today that are responsible for me telling my truth and making sure that I was a worthy candidate. Basically talking to Elsbeth.
But it's like, I mean, I know a lot can happen specifically 2 weeks before an election, not like we've lived it or anything like that. But like, it just was very quick between the last time we saw him. And I mean, I didn't have a good track of where we were in the election cycle or anything like that, but I certainly didn't expect for him to be, mayor. didn't expect for him to be, for us to learn that he was mayor by television and not through Elsbeth being there. So it was a little weird.
It was weird. It was rushed. It was odd.
Yeah.
And so Alec and Elsbeth are meeting up at Elsbeth's, apartment. He thanks her for being the inspiration for the truth.
They are sitting on opposite ends of this couch.
Yep. He says, "Thank you for inspiring me to tell the truth." Elsbeth is not holding back. She says, "You mean when I force you to tell the truth? Like, I didn't inspire you. I basically backed you to a corner to tell the truth, or I was going to tell the truth." It's like, ooh. I was like, call him out, girl. She's been in this space this whole episode of calling out toxic men. So she's like, and now I'm about to do you too, Alec. You about to get it as well. He says, "Yeah, okay, but I really want you to be by my side with this whole mayor thing." Elsbeth basically like, yeah, actually, no.
No, I love what she says there. She's like, "Alec, you're going to do so many great things for the city, or even like beyond. But it's not going to be with me."
Yep. And she says, "I can't stop thinking about that time that we were at that restaurant and you lied to my face about Pete, like to my face. And the worst part is I couldn't tell that you were lying."
Yes.
I was like, oh yes, exactly.
Yes.
Because we even clocked it. We even called it out in the moment. Like, how can Elsbeth, the best investigator we've ever known, not see that he was lying to her? And I'm glad they referenced it here.
Yes.
She's like, "That's scary." She says, "So I can't do this with you." She says, "I know what it's like to be a people pleaser. I am one." I was like, ooh, okay. We're talking to the Marissas of the world here. She goes, she says, "So I get it. I understand what that means. And it's good for the people of New York that you want to be a people pleaser, that you want to please them. But I can't be with a people pleaser. I am one and I can't be with one."
Let me just say a shout out to the current mayor of New York City who is actually pleasing the people and doing what he said he was going to do during the election. That's all I'm going to say. If you're going to work for the people, that's an example to follow.
Yeah. She says, "Maybe I'm expecting too much, but that's just who I am." It's like, expecting too much for the man that you're with, to be honest. I mean, I don't feel like that's too much.
Well, but that's like the thing of like, not that they're talking, not that the show's about me. But many times as a people pleaser, I can think that what I'm asking for is too much, even though I would never tell someone that I'm trying to, like, that I'm pleasing or trying to help or do anything like that, that their needs are too much. And oftentimes I would identify their needs without them even telling me, which gets me into a whole other thing of trouble. But that's why it can really feel like, okay, just asking for basic honesty is really a lot. Even though it's like, I don't know, the basement floor of what a relationship should be based on.
Truly. Alec goes, "But what about second chances?" Elsbeth says, "You got a second chance, just not with me."
That's right.
You got a second chance with the people in New York, and they gave you a chance, but you're not getting with me, buddy boy. So Alec and Elsbeth officially are donezo. So
Breaking news
leads us to the last scene of the episode, where Wagner and Elsbeth are having a nice little fun time. They're chowing down on some of those tuna fish sandwiches that Elsbeth got Elliot. And, and Wagner goes, "I wonder if these are the same type of sandwiches that Pete gave a young Alec Bloom." And Elsbeth says, "Something, I don't even know if there ever was a Pete. I still have no idea." And I'm like, yeah, us either, Elsbeth. We'd also like to know how big were these lies that Alec told? We still don't really know. And I like that that Elsbeth doesn't even know.
See.
Cue Marissa. Marissa walks into the scene. She has bad news. She says, "Well, I'm just here, Wagner, to tell you that Alec decided to go in a different direction with the commissioner part. So you're not getting the commissioner slot. He gave
no bag light for you."
Oh, right. No bag light. No Elsbeth signal. So who got the commissioner position? Well, he gave it to Tully, Wagner's nemesis. Where, correct me if I'm wrong, but we met Tully in the was it the first episode of this season with Tony Hale? Or no, not Tony Hale. What's his name?
David Colbert.
David Cross.
Oh, no. Yeah.
David Cross wasn't the first of this season. Stephen Colbert was the first of the season.
Yeah, and then it was David Cross with the toys.
Okay, with the toys. I think we met Tully in that one, and he was a real dipshit.
Yeah, he was the guy running the
Hostage
van.
situation.
The yes, exactly.
Yeah, so that's Wagner's nemesis. He name checked Tully earlier in the episode. So I was like, okay, well, I could kind of see what was coming before it actually happened. I was like, okay, we don't mention Tully in the beginning of the episode for him not to pay off later. It's Chekhov's Tully, if you will. So Tully got the job over Wagner, and Elspeth says, Marissa, does this have anything to do with me and Alec? And Marissa's like, no, this happens all the time.
Well, she doesn't say that. She says these things are complicated.
Oh yeah,
like it's not as simple as you would think.
And Wagner plays it off as if he doesn't really care. He's like, well, I just really wanted to be considered, and I was considered, so that's good enough for me. But we know Wagner really wanted this, so he's probably really kind of broke up about it. And so Elsbeth asks Marissa, so like, can we still consider like Alec, a friend, in the mayor's office? Would that is he going to be for us or against us? Marissa says, well, we'll see. But hey, you'll still have a friend in me at the Gracie Mansion. She's like, okay, cool. I hope that means we'll see more Marissa. And I hope, Marissa was so complicated this season.
Yeah. I'm like, the character needs redemption for me. Like, if this is her last showing up in this verse, I would like for her to have a little bit different of a thing here. But also, Jason, I know like you had this theory that it was going to be what's her face, but it's similar. Like there's still a foe. There's still this tension between the mayor and the police department. I honestly wasn't expecting Alec to be such a petty person that this would like impact, especially after everything that and the reason he gave was people don't think that I'm serious enough or something like or strong enough or whatever, and so I needed someone that has that. And you're telling me that like those qualities couldn't be seen in Wagner. So crazy. Just I wasn't expecting that, and I think it's a little, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that, and it's not like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this.
It's actually weirdly like reminiscent of what we're going through and what we went through recently in the Good Wife side of our podcast, where spoilers for the Good Wife season, beginning of season 5 or whatever. But Diane doesn't get her Supreme Court judgeship because of the whole drama between Alicia and LG or Lockhart Gardner. It's very reminiscent of that. Like you're using your personal issues to inform political issues. So it was really reminiscent of what we're going through now in The Good Wife. So yeah, unfortunately, Wagner's not going to get that commissionership. And as you mentioned, I had this theory that Winnie Crawford is going to be the mayor and cause trouble for our heroes. So, but the person might be causing trouble might be Alec next season. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or immediately next episode, because
who knows
what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Who knows? There's still time for what Winnie? What's her name? It's not. I always.
Winnie.
Yeah. For her to be not Winnie Cooper.
Not Winnie Cooper. Yeah. Winnie Crawford.
Winnie Crawford to be mayor, because like there's the whole like swearing in or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. There's still hope that Wagner will be commissioner someday, but I have a feeling it'll be like at the end of the series.
Yeah, I think that's best, because I mean we want Wagner to stick around the precinct. So yeah, I think we all kind of probably knew that he wasn't going to be commissioner one way or the other, because he still needs to stick around the precinct for Elsbeth and
otherwise we get
Connor. Yeah, nobody wants that. Connor's fine, but he's no Wagner. Okay.
Yeah.
Important editor's note or show note,
programming note. Yeah,
we get a 1 week hiatus from Elsbeth. Next episode will not be until April 30th. So you got 2 full weeks of no Elsbeth side of this podcast, but we'll be back when Elsbeth's back.
Ponder what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
with Alec.
Yep. So yeah, that's our episode. Marissa, do you want to tell the good folks where they can find you on the interwebs?
Sure. Well, first of all, Jason, thanks for walking us through a very fun episode of Elsbeth. Lots
Yeah.
of different moving pieces and everything. If you want to catch up with me, you can find me at itsmemarissag.com, where there's links to all of the podcasts that I'm on. We're trying to get more subscribers on YouTube, so I'd love it if you could go over there and subscribe to us. Even if you don't watch us over there, it really does help us with a lot of our other goals. So, if you have some time, hop on over there, subscribe. We have different feeds for both Elsbeth and The Good Wife. Like Jason mentioned, The Good Wife is in some good territory at the moment. So fun stuff happening over there. If you want to catch up with me on Whirlwind Podcasts, I'm covering Pretty Little Liars, one previously on at a time. So you can catch what's going on with that wacky show there. And then slowly but surely, my sister and I are still going through space on Star Trek by watching Star Trek The Next Generation over on USS Sisterhood. So that is what's up with me. Jason, what mess you into this week?
I'm always messing about. You can always find me on the A Perfect Match podcast. We're exclusively on Patreon right now as we're going through older seasons of Married at First Sight until the new season comes on. But we just finished up season 10. We're going to have a special one-off podcast where we kind of rematch some people that the experiment didn't work for them, but we were rematching them with other singles from the Married at First Sight universe. That's going to be a fun little exercise me and Asia Welch went through. Then we're going to tackle season 12. That should be fun. Another really good season of the show. Also, as Marissa mentioned, we're looking for more participation from the audience. We also want some more reviews on Apple Podcasts. I want to shout out another review that we got, a 5-star review. The author, Nay Whip, that's NAYWHIP. The title is "Love This Pod." They say, I am a Elsbeth watcher that is finally starting Good Wife, and I'm loving your recaps.
Yay! Welcome to the Good Wife side, and also thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you, Nay Whip. So we love to hear those things from our audience. We love any interaction, whether that's emailing, whether that's commenting, whether that's subscribing. We love it all. So do any and all of those things, that we will love you for life. So yeah, that's it for me. That's it for Marissa. Until next time, stay good.